Do you know you can actually talk to this bot?
No, I've never. I've heard of Craigbot before, but I've never used it.
And he will actually respond. So that if you like say hi Craigbot, he responds to you.
Hi, Craigbot.
Yeah, see, he doesn't, but it's a nice thing to start off the episode with the podcast. See, I would like to take credit for that bit, but it was my co-host Iskall who started it. He started that bit of asking guests. I mean, it started with who was it? With Dr. Skipper, like a documentary essay content creator. About a year ago, he'd been waiting an hour, like an extra, and he was just talking in the call because, like, I had a huge power cut in my house and in my local area, so I couldn't like get on, and I was having loads of issues with Discord. And that's what my co-host started off the episode with, and I felt really bad for the guy. But you know, no issues here. No issues here. It's 3 o'clock in the morning, and how rude am I haven't even introduced you. So for everybody watching, I'm here with a very special guest. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi. Yeah, sure. My name's Parallax. I make overly edited commentary videos, and I sometimes make longer videos where I go down rabbit holes against games.
Well, diving straight into it with these type of podcasts, at least right at the beginning, I like to start at the beginning, right? How did you get into YouTube and doing all that?
Well, I've kind of always watched YouTube as a kid, like every other content creator ever, and the idea just kind of grew stronger for me. However, the way I got into this documentary style content, in year 9 or 10, I believe, in high school, I was in this or it might have been year 12 or 11. I had this really small media class where we learned how to like edit videos, and one of the assignments was we had to do a documentary on someone. And I think I really like the process because one of my friends from high school, he's like a really fast runner, and I made a documentary on him. The video was really shit, but it got the ball rolling for me, I think, in like learning how to edit and do all the journalistic stuff.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's a very unique start. And I mean, usually when I like ask that question, I ask it just out of necessity at this point, right? To like really understand like that content creator, where they've come from, their background. And usually it's like, you know, I got into it because of Minecraft, like content creators, right? And I enjoyed games, or like even more like commentary specific. It was, you know, it'd be more, I watched iDubbbz or Leafy or that type of stuff. So that's like a pretty like unique introduction into wanting to do that, and like, you know, wanting to make these type of documentary content or essay pieces or whatever you would brand yourself as. And how have you found that like progress like since? Like, how have you found like going into that YouTube world? I don't know how long specifically you've been doing YouTube. I wasn't like sure if, you know, from the start of your channel, if that was, you know, when you started, or if you like had a channel beforehand. Like, how long's it been?
Yeah, so I think I started in 2016 when I was really
Same.
young,
Yep.
and I used to like play FIFA and record that from the PlayStation because that's all I had at the time. And then I got bullied at school for it, so I ended up quitting. But I still like the idea was in my mind. And in 2020, when I moved back from overseas, so I used to live in Malaysia when I started content creation.
Oh wow.
And then I moved back overseas because the situation over there was getting a bit too much for me. And so I moved back into boarding school, and I started playing Fortnite and playing with my friends and recording those videos. They don't exist anymore, sadly. I tried to find them. And then when Dream started blowing up in 2019, I saw a clip of him saying things like he studied the YouTube algorithm for like 3 to 6 months, and that really inspired me. It like showed that you can make this a career, and I've been trying ever since, I guess.
No, for sure. And like, it's interesting you say that with Dream and stuff, because look, that's going to be what like a big topic, right? We're both like dabbled in the Minecraft realm of stuff, right? And I think that's pretty sure like how we came to like in contact, right? It was through like Minecraft drama and controversy, and that type of stuff. I could not tell you what one it was specifically. There's been so many this year. But like, what appealed you to make like going towards more of that Minecraft sphere in terms of the videos you've made? I know, like, of course, one of your big ones was Hermitcraft, right? Which we will 100% talk about later on, because, you know, I need something for the title. But like, what made you interested in that? Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess I've kind of wondered this as well, but I guess at the time I was just looking for easy videos to make, and I didn't
Hmm.
want to spend hours of my time recording gameplay footage. I used to do like hardcore video stuff, and I used to spend a lot of time playing the game. So I was like,
Hmm.
why don't I just talk about the game and save a lot of time on the recording progress and just edit? Because that's what I like doing. And then I also met Internet Anarchist, who was making these
Yep.
documentaries at the time, and I met him when he had about 20,000 subscribers. This was
Hmm.
right after he posted his video on Sunny V2, like the very first one. And it was like how Sunny V2 like broke the YouTube algorithm. And I'm like, this guy's clearly knows what he's doing. He's got really good editing. And then I kind of just like copied him and then started developing my own style from there.
Well, yeah, I mean that's like how a lot of people got into it. Not necessarily through copying like Internet Anarchist, but even like people like Sunny V2 and Internet Anarchist, right?
Yeah.
Especially in that type of field. I mean, Internet Anarchist and Sunny V2 and all these other people like popularized that genre. I mean, of
Yeah.
course, Sunny V2 like more than Internet Anarchist. But you know, those were some like the big channels in that niche, which I feel like that niche is still there. Maybe
Yeah.
not as prominent as it was, you know, a few years ago in like 2023 when it was massive. I mean, Internet Anarchist is doing amazing. He's like probably at the
Yeah.
moment because I mean, Sunny V2 isn't uploading, is the biggest content creator in that niche at the moment, if I'm not mistaken, of course, with this type of content that he
Yeah.
does specifically. Um, so how is that trying to make that content? Because I mean, I was somebody who I've done like a world of different commentary things since 2016, and from commentary shorts that I do on other channels to topic commentary to the stuff that I do now to like the documentary stuff. How do you feel like doing like that essay documentary stuff, like in compared to like doing anything else? Like how is that for you?
Yeah.
Like and your process behind that?
I just love the editing and video creation side of things
Hmm.
and the research. So I love going down these interesting rabbit holes of stories and trying to find substantial information and make sure I know what I'm talking about. I did this. I've tried doing this as well. In my big documentary, I made a 56-minute long video into the dark side of like Minecraft servers, and I did a lot of research into that, and it took like a month to make, and it's one of my most popular videos, and it's also
Hmm.
one I'm proud of. But I think with that as well, with the documentary stuff. Sorry, my dog's barking. With
No
the
worries.
with the documentary stuff. Sorry, what was it? Was what's the process like?
Yeah, yeah, and how do you feel with like doing those type of
Oh,
content? Because
I
of course, it's more like a more
yeah.
effort, right, in terms of editing and stuff, and there's like more, not maybe stress, but more time that goes into editing and doing that type of stuff. So, like, how is that for you? Like, and piecing together one of these bigger videos.
To be fair, I love the bigger videos. I
Yeah.
feel really proud of them when they're out, and especially if it's on a topic that I actually care about and think will make a difference. It is a
Hmm.
bit rough at the moment financially because my channel's small and I'm running at a burn
Yeah.
rate. So I have a bunch of money saved, but I spend it all on videos and living expenses. So I'm probably gonna have to get a job soon to help out with the
Hmm.
making sure I can still do this, obviously. But it's been really great for the most part. I even if I'm not making money, I'd still be doing it.
No, definitely. And I mean, like from my own experience, because for a while, I mean, like I started with topic commentary stuff, and then started going into the more documentary stuff and essay stuff, probably like 2022, late 2022, 2023, and then like most of last year.
Yeah.
And I always found with it when I stopped doing topic commentary because I hated what I was doing with topic commentary. It was nothing like I was doing now. Right now, I've got loads of passion for it. I feel like I'm myself. I'm adding jokes and adding like that personality and like what I want to make. But when I was originally doing topic commentary, it really wasn't for me. So I moved over to documentary stuff. And with the documentary stuff, I mean, it was okay, but it was never me, right? I was never like
Yeah.
making jokes. I was following that formula. And I mean, I can honestly look back and say that like I'm not proud of any of those documentaries I made, even though I think they're like decent videos. Aside from the one I did with like Turkey Tom and all them. But I mean, I would say that I'm way more proud of like that slop content they do on Slop Meal, right? In comparison because like going into YouTube and like doing stuff. I mean, everyone has their own different goals and stuff, and it's very clear what like you enjoy with making these bigger, longer videos, piecing them together, these edited pieces. For me, I like to talk, get the information out there, like tell a
Mm.
story in that regards, and have an opinion. and relay the information like that. And both pieces of content have like the same worth because both content creators there are equally enjoying making that piece of content and they
Yeah.
function for a role. And like for you, how has that been like trying to grow being an essayist? Because like I said, right, it takes a lot of time and effort. And of course, like in comparison to Slop, right, I can sit here and I can make a video in like 6-7 hours, right?
Yeah.
Maybe even less if it's a smaller topic, right? If I'm covering like a shit of the week KSI topic, if I want to do, right, that's not going to take me very long. I'm going to put some bullet points down. I'm going to do some simplistic editing because editing isn't my focus. It's more, the
Yeah.
information that I'm including, as long as it's factual, as long as I'm having fun, as long as it feels authentic, I'm happy with that piece of content. Where with you, of course, you've got your editing, you've got all these other barriers to get through for you to be happy with that piece of content.
Yeah.
How is that for you? Like, because of course you're not churning out content in that like same way that I or live streamers are, or topic commentators are, or
Yeah.
a large majority of that like YouTube side are. So how is that for you?
I guess sometimes it can be a bit stressful not uploading for a period of time
Yeah.
because if the video flops, it's more detrimental for me because I've got to
Hmm.
pay. I have editors I pay and they edit like a small part, but majority of it is done by me. But I
Hmm.
think the reason I haven't like switched up or quit is because one, I like it, and two, I've got a great network. I've got like Internet Anarchist and I are really good friends now. I met him in person actually at the start of the year.
Oh wow.
Um, so like I've got a really strong network of that. I've got some good encouraging friends as well that like my videos and things
Hmm.
like that and they give feedback. So I guess it's just because I really like doing it, I'm stuck with it. And it's kind of hard. Like I
Yeah.
guess the channel direction I'm kind of going for is the do you know who Lamino is?
No.
So Lamino, he runs one of the biggest
Hmm.
documentary channels. He runs one of the biggest channels in Sweden. Period. That does like
Oh
documentaries.
wow.
You probably known him. I think he makes like all the background music himself. He does all the like visuals and stuff. You might recognize him from a lot of streamers react to him. So you
Hmm.
might recognize it from that, like XQC and things like that. And I'm kind of
Yeah.
trying to be like him and a mix of CoffeeZilla as well in terms of the investigative journalism side of things. So, and I guess I just
Yeah.
really like doing it. So I
No,
don't want to be
definitely.
like niche down to like just Minecraft anymore. I want to be able to do multiple topics.
Well, yeah. Well, that was something I was going to ask, right? Because I know, again, I'm not trying to make it all about me, right? But like, I'm trying to relate it to like my experiences and the
Yeah.
content when asking these questions. But like, I know for me, of course, I hate being limited by one like niche. I
Mm,
like being able to jump between Minecraft and then next week covering some random shit of TikTok drama, or then covering iDubbbz or whoever else like is that person of the week, that person of the day, where there's a topic that I'm interested in, regardless if it is to do with iDubbbz, Minecraft, KSI, mainline commentary, whatever it is. I like to have that freedom to bounce around, and that was something I was going to ask you. Like, and you kind of answered it there. Like by being limited by like one niche and one genre. Like, how do you plan on like trying to not break out of that Minecraft thing because you haven't like put like a limit on yourself, of course,
yeah.
but like how do you plan like trying to grow and like move away to other like topics and like expand?
Well, I actually did this yesterday. I posted a video on Pirate Software,
Mm-hmm.
the game dev that was in a bunch of controversy right now, and the video is doing okay. It's got a good AVD and watch time. I don't know if you know this, but there's a feature on YouTube where if you upload a video, you can say don't push to subs or notify subs of the video. So that way
Mm-hmm.
YouTube will try and find a different audience for it and it will have better stats on it that's like more accurate to the target demographic. And the
Mm-hmm.
video is starting to pick up, which is good. I think for me, I just need to make sure I'm doing high quality research
Yeah.
and adding really good visuals so people will want to come back to the videos because they know they're gonna get something good rather than it's just Minecraft slop drama basically. Because
No, definitely.
I do those videos sometimes, and I've made videos just on drama because I thought they'd get views, but at the end of the day, if I'm not enjoying the content, the channel's not gonna last
Well,
for a
yeah.
long time.
Uh, well, exactly. If you're not passionate about that content or doing that, then that's going to very much show.
Mm,
And I mean, I wouldn't be doing the content that I'm doing on that Slot Meals channel. Like create a whole different channel for it if I wasn't enjoying that content, right? If I
yeah,
wasn't like, I would not be pushing myself to do daily content on a channel that I like hate doing. And it's the same with you, right? Like, you're not going to want to push yourself to do content that you fucking despise.
Yeah.
You are going to want to branch out and stuff. You are going to want to focus on the visuals, because what I gathered from watching your videos, of course, and feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. Your focus of like is on the visuals, is on that research, rather than more of the personality, maybe like comedic
Yeah.
driven elements.
One
You,
100%.
yeah.
I
Hmm.
was gonna say I've gotten a lot of criticism in the past for my channels. They're like, you don't have any personality in your videos. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to build a parasocial relationship with an audience. I've seen the double-edged
Yeah.
sword of that.
No,
Um,
definitely.
yeah, and a lot of
Um.
people say I'm like
Mhm.
similar to internet anarchist as well, but it's kind of gonna happen, especially because he taught me how to write scripts early on. And I
Yeah.
did write a script for his channel, but it didn't end up getting
Mhm.
used. But it, like, taught me the ropes of script writing.
I,
So
I
I'm
mean, it
kind of
comes with that niche as well, right? Is it
yeah,
like how out of place would it be if you're watching this essay on a serious topic, and it's what you expect, and then the guy cracks a joke, right? And that's how I felt trying to do like essay documentary content. It didn't fit like what I wanted to do and like how I am when I come to content creation.
yeah,
And if that's your goals and that's your like ideals, then there's no point trying to like be that comedic person, right? And like trying to
yeah,
be that like driven by the personality for your videos. Because I realize for me to succeed on YouTube and the platform and to be happy, I don't need the like editing, right? I don't care, right? As long as it's like looking like visually nice, right? Something to put on. You're not gonna like be like disgusted by the
yeah,
visuals, but it's not like this insane editing. For me, I don't feel like I need to do that, and I know there's loads of content creators that don't. If they're more personality driven, or they're more comedic, or whatever they're focused on, the scripting, the research, the relaying of evidence, and the situation at hand. Where of course, when it comes to like documentary YouTubers, I'm friends with quite a few. I've spoken to Inner Anarchist a lot.
yeah,
I've spoken to other like smaller ones like Amos. I've spoken to Turkey Tom and all these other people. And the visuals, the scripting, like all that stuff is their priority over more personality.
mm,
um and it comes with a niche, right? You're not going to want to do documentary stuff if you're the most comedic guy and you want to like crack jokes about every single situation. That's not going to be for you.
mm,
um and was there ever a time where you like experimented with like different styles of like documentary and essay content, so like but
mm.
before of course like getting to where you are now?
Gaming documentary. I don't think I've experimented really that
Hmm.
much. I think in terms of visuals as well, there's a lot of personality in video editing, especially if you're editing it yourself and you're doing all the work
Yeah,
behind
well, it's your
it.
style, right? Like it's
Yeah.
recognizable to you.
And yeah, because when I started, I had some conversations with Internet Anarchist about this. He was like, "Your videos are way too similar to mine, and they're like a worse version." So I think I'm just trying to evolve
Jesus
from.
Christ.
Yeah, well,
Fucking
like
hell.
he said it in a he said it in a nicer way, but I was like, you know what, that's fair criticism. I did kind of
Mhm.
take a bit too much inspiration, and I've been trying to like get away from that.
Yeah.
And I think I've been slowly getting like into my own thing, which is good.
Mhm.
But like
Yes.
a
Yeah.
lot of people tell me like there's one way to do this, there's one way to do that, but in reality, if it doesn't, it's not gonna work for everyone just because it works for
No,
you.
definitely. Well, yeah, it's about experimenting and trying out, and like like trying out different thumbnails. What works for you? What works for you in the titles? What like works for one person isn't necessarily going to work for everybody, right? It's going to work for
Yeah.
50% of people, 20% of people. You've got to experiment. Um, and I mean, in regards to what Inanica said, I'm assuming he didn't call you up and go, by the way, your fucking video is like a crap version of mine, right? Like,
But
there's more
that
sentiment
was a
behind that.
no, he
Um,
said it in a much nicer way. That's
yeah,
just how
yeah.
I interpreted it.
Um, but being blunt is like, the best
Yeah,
medicine in that time, especially when you're making content that is similar to one of your friends, right?
yeah,
Like, what if one of my friends is like a live streamer, right? I'm not gonna like necessarily message him and go, your live stream's like crap, because I'm not a live streamer, right?
yeah.
Um,
But
but
I think
if you're
I
making
think
that similar content, it's about being
yeah,
blunt and being honest, and like helping the person that's in your niche that doing this like
yeah.
similar type of content to you.
I think when we met in person, I like brought this up to him, and he was like, I was like, didn't you say like you didn't really care that much if because like the editing style is kind of generic, but he told me that because like I'm his friend and he expected that like I do something a bit more unique, and I've been trying ever since, I guess. So that's like the one criticism I get mainly on my channel that I'm like, yeah, I can agree with that. I'm trying my best
Mhm.
to steer away from that.
Yeah. No, I mean, to like a certain extent, you're always gonna get that, even if you are like wildly different, because
Yeah,
like the main people in
he
that
gets
niche,
compared to
right?
Sunny
So
too, but
yeah,
yeah,
you're always gonna get compared to In Anarchist and Sunny V2 as long as they're still doing content, right? I mean, even after they quit or let's say they leave, right? Like Sunny V2, as for example, you're still gonna get those comments, right?
yeah,
You will always get those comments because they are the biggest people in that genre that dominate that. So if your videos are even just a tiny bit similar, they could be entirely different, but because you're that essayist, that documentary type channel, you're always going to get those comments.
yeah. And I'm an
It's like
Australian
how.
accent, so
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And I mean, it's like how for ages people in like topic commentary videos would get like you're a leafy clone, right? And your video could be like so far removed from that, right? It could be completely different gameplay, completely different humor, completely different style. You're just doing a commentary video, and people would still comment that, right? You're always going to get those type of comparisons. But of course, like not only not reading too much into criticism, but if you read that piece of criticism, and there's a bit of truth in there, of course, learning from it, especially when you've got a friend like an anarchist who is, at the top of their game in like the certain
yeah,
genre of content that you want to be involved in, right? It'd be stupid to like not listen,
yeah. No,
like unless you like adamantly disagreed with what he was saying.
nah, but like,
Um,
yeah, I like watched back the video and I was like, oh
yeah,
yeah, my bad. Gotta
yeah, no,
take
no, no,
criticism
definitely.
and correct the record.
Yeah,
Comparison.
definitely. Like, and speaking of like content, and like speaking of like maybe topics, like I said earlier, right? We've got to have like something for the title, Hermitcraft, right? And
Yeah.
all of the drama and controversy with that, and the most recent stuff. For the audience that may not be familiar with it, may not have seen videos on it, what was all that about?
So back in the November of 2024, if you don't know what Hermitcraft is, you might recognize creators like Grian or Mumbo Jumbo. Essentially,
Hmm.
they're the one of some of the biggest Minecraft creators that like how popularized. It's a really big server. There's this guy called Iskall 85. And
Yeah.
in the November of 2024, Hermitcraft released a statement saying that they received multiple complaints from women in their community about Iskall 85, and that they went to confront him and he chose to resign, and that another person named Stress Monster also chose to resign at a similar time. And I think what happened from then is one of the people that with the complaints came forward with a document trying to show that hey, Iskall was sending inappropriate images and trying to get inappropriate images from other
Hmm.
women in the community whilst he was dating someone at the time. So even though it's not illegal, it's very highly immoral. And Hermitcraft has this certain image they want to show because they're a very kid-friendly server. And
Yeah.
then there was also some stuff with this Minecraft mod where apparently people were trying to silently overtake the project while these allegations were going down. And Iskall obviously didn't like that because he's invested a lot of money into the mod and he accused them of like extortion. So I think the thing that made this situation whole polarizing is the victim involved. She made this big document, going over her experiences and being like, "This is how this happened." But all of her
Hmm.
messages she showed Iskall didn't show him in any like nefarious light. It only showed him being a friendly guy, just being like, "Hey, I like you," stuff like that. Like
Hmm.
uh, yeah, there's some weird messages of him being like, "I don't get any cuddles or no partner," but like it's a bit weird.
Right.
But
Yeah.
it's a bit weird, but like there's a lot of like encouraging stuff where it's like you gotta try harder and follow your dreams and stuff. So like I guess the one thing they said was they didn't want to share anything that minors could see, but there's ways to show like someone did something bad without having to show inappropriate images or content. And I think any normal person watching the situation doesn't want to see that.
No, definitely. And of course, then like it's got released a response, right?
Yeah,
Which blew up, right?
yeah,
I believe like at the time recording, it's got like something like 1.4 million views.
yeah.
That
My
response
video, my
was
video,
huge.
my video still gets 2,000 views a month. 2,000 views
Yeah,
every 48 hours from that video, and it was 5 months ago, which was like insane.
Yeah, but it would be like an evergreen video because that is a topic that people are interested in. I mean, that was something that kind of leaked over into like even mainline commentary, right? Was basically anywhere you looked. I mean, it was a topic that I was considering covering at one point and like looking into. But it was basically right around like iMalix and a bunch of other stuff that was going down.
Yeah.
Um, so like I never ended up getting around to it. But maybe for people that like haven't seen the response, like how did that go down?
So for starters, a lot of people when they saw Iskall's response, they kind of took his word at like face value. But if you watch the video, he's saying a lot of nothing.
Hmm.
Especially now looking back at it, because whilst you can give your own experiences, it doesn't mean anything, especially because he's just like in a Minecraft world in a screen. Like he doesn't show a single screenshot throughout
Yeah.
the whole video backing up what he's saying. And I think it just kind of made the situation even more confusing because he said the allegations weren't of a criminal nature, but because he was aired out as a criminal, he filed a defamation lawsuit. And I've got an
Hmm.
update video in the works on this, but I'm actually in the process of reaching out to a bunch of Swedish courts regarding him and his company, because in Sweden, all of that's public information, and
Hmm.
you can request that under the Freedom of Rights Act. And I managed to find a lot of stuff about
Oh
him
wow.
just through his company, which is kind of crazy because Sweden is
Hmm.
like the king of doxing people. Um,
Yeah.
so in that situation, I've reached out to a bunch of courts and even the police, and the police said there was no the other day there was no ongoing investigation about his company, but they couldn't
Hmm.
confirm or deny if there was an investigation about him. So he might have filed under his name to like protect him. But even if it's anyone can file a defamation as well. So that doesn't prove his innocence until we have any like documents showing that, because Logan Paul's filing defamation against CoffeeZilla, but that doesn't mean he's
Yeah.
innocent.
Well, no,
So
exactly. And what was the consensus online with his response? Because usually there's either a heavy
mm,
consensus that somebody's, either innocent, incredibly
this
guilty, or it's mixed.
this is the part that's confused me the most about this case, because when there's like an innocent and guilty situation, the innocent side loves speaking out. They like going on podcasts. They like sharing information to show, hey, this happened. This is what's happened. But I don't think Hermitcraft really wants the drama that much. And I think I got blocked by False Symmetry on Twitter, who was like one of the hermits
Hmm.
involved. But it's just an interesting situation because no one is talking about it, and there's no
Yeah.
substantial evidence of any wrongdoing. So he's innocent until proven guilty in the court of
Of
public
course. Hmm.
opinion. But a lot of Hermitcraft viewers trust Hermitcraft's done their due diligence, and they don't like him, and his channel's fallen off. But I
Yeah.
just think
Yeah.
I think he's a bit of a weird guy in the sense of he made a video the other day where it was like, "Why it's all taking a while," and he said,
Hmm.
in that video, he was like, "Oh, my grandma passed away. I've been dealing with all this family stuff
Great.
about my mod." Like,
Yeah.
this wasn't like, with the title, you'd think it's about the ongoing defamation case, but it's not. It's about his mod Vault Hunters. But it was weird because he was like sympathy, like looking for sympathy with the grandma dying, and of course it sucks losing a core member of the family like that. But then he also complained about Reddit hate and how he has the time to respond to random 14-year-olds on his Reddit. I'm like,
I think it's on the same level. Grandma dying, Reddit hate, fucking right there.
yeah, it's just a weird situation because there's something going on here, but there's nothing being shown. And I would get it if it was like a Hermitcraft going, "Hey, we've decided we're not showing any information." Iskall says we're
Yeah.
not showing anything. That's fine. But one of the victims coming forward and trying to provide more context without substantiating it, that's the part I have the problem with. Like, I'm not trying to victim blame or shit on any victims or anything like that if they are victims. I'm just trying to say, if you're going to accuse someone of a crime on a large public platform, you definitely need to show evidence to at least get rid of that.
Of course. Yeah.
Because I got an email of like her saying like there's always going to be that shift, but if you want less of that shift, you got to substantiate what you're saying, or else anyone
Well.
can get cancelled for
Well.
saying
Yeah.
hello to a female.
Well, yeah. I mean, look, like if you come out with an allegation and you've got no fucking evidence, people are going to shit on you. People aren't going to necessarily believe you, right? Like
Mm,
my whole thing with it, of course, innocent until proven guilty. Then, if they've got no evidence, it's well, like how like reliable is this person? Not shitting on this person, but then going, look, is this realistic? Is this something that is believable? I mean, take the Skeppy stuff for example, right? I could, like, from what you were saying there, I think there are loads of parallels in how that situation played out. Even the response, right? Ultimately, um, and if you don't have the evidence to back something up, or you've got very minimal evidence, people aren't going to take you seriously. Like, and I mean, I think when it comes to like Minecraft as well, online and like that community, you are gonna get like it's about probably 50, 60, 70% of people are gonna run with that narrative immediately, right? Because that community is full of people that don't care about evidence, don't care about like innocent until proven guilty, very much follow that guilty until proven innocent method. I mean, it
Yeah,
happened with
me
Skeppy, it
too.
happened with Dream, you know, no, that community is a community that I don't care about like if you're left, right, or anything like that, right? But that
Mm.
community is very self-righteous, to put it nicely, right?
Yeah, I think it's
Um,
I think it's come to
mhm.
from what I've seen, it's a lot of virtual signaling. A lot of people are
Yep,
like, I'd rather believe the potential victim over the potential abuser, but you don't have to.
which is
You can
retarded.
yeah, you can send support to victims for coming out with their story, but you don't have to believe what they're saying
You don't have to
at
bash
all.
them. You do
Yeah,
exactly right. You
it's
just be
like
neutral in a situation.
yeah, it's you at least wait for the other guy's response before immediately jumping the gun, because a lot of the time, there's been a lot of instances where people have used this maliciously and just like gone out of their way for the fun of it, or like some dumb 14-year-old kid will like claim this guy's a pedo just for attention on Twitter. And it happened with
Hmm.
Tubbo, where a lot of people immediately believed the victim straight away, and like luckily Tubbo was live and was able to be like, this clearly didn't happen because of X, Y, and Z. But it just goes to show that
What? Yeah.
in nowadays, especially with artificial intelligence, it's never been easier to fake evidence. And
Hmm.
with all the allegations coming out, if we all just immediately believed the victim, there's going to be more victims of false allegations. And when you're at the receiving end of allegations, it's really like it's like the worst period of your life, even if you've done nothing wrong, because you're
Yeah.
thinking that you've done something wrong because millions of people think you did.
Well, yeah, like it's the pressure and stress of that, and like it's funny you brought up the Tubbo thing, right? Because it's like out to anybody else, right? And I think with the Minecraft community, it's heightened by like tenfold, right? How quickly
Yeah.
people will believe the victims, regardless of like evidence, regardless of whatever, and will like have that like mentality of guilty to proven innocent, that type of thing. Was written testimony. It was completely bullshit. It was very easily like see, like you look at it and you go, well, this is a troll, right? This is right in the middle of all the serious like accusations and stuff that happened last year, right? It was like squeezed in between. You had Wilbur, you had GeorgeNotFound, you had
Dream.
like 3, 4 other stuff. You had Dream, you had all of these other things going on, right? It was
Mm.
so obviously fake. It was so obviously trying to like capitalize off of what was going on, right? Fuel more drama. But that Minecraft audience is very easily fooled. Very like doesn't give a shit about evidence, doesn't give a shit
Yeah,
about a lot of things.
they just don't care. They just want to like have it. If they don't like a creator, like let's say if everyone all of a sudden decided, hey, fuck TommyInnit, someone comes forward with an allegation against TommyInnit, they're just gonna believe it without doing anything.
Yeah,
Like,
and it works in the opposite ways as well.
yeah,
Is for content creators they like TommyInnit, right? They will completely flat out ignore anything he's done, the hypocrisy, the comments that he's making, the false accusations, whatever, right? And then we'll immediately like jump on him if it's something that they slightly like disagree with, like the AI stuff, right? Was never about like the hypocrisy there, his lies. It was just about the fact he used AI, not even like the hypocrisy there, how he folded, how he would lie and switch up, right? None of that, right? The actual criticizable stuff that shows his character. It's all just about the fact that well, he might be damaging the environment, right? And it's so stupid. It's so
they're,
funny.
they're so disingenuous as well, because like watching a TommyInnit stream takes just as much power as using an AI chat. Like
Well,
these are
yeah.
probably the same guys that use ChatGPT to assist them with their homework. They're just looking for a reason to
Yeah,
be angry.
exactly. And it's like who gives a fuck, right? Like my whole criticism with TommyInnit's AI thing was never the AI. I don't give a shit, right? Like I think if you're gonna make a comment about AI, right? I think my only ever critiques about someone ever using AI was Vicstar with his entire music video, right? Which I thought was just lazy and really shit and funny, right? Especially when you're surrounded by all that talent, right? Never about like fucking whatever like implications, moral implications, right? Or Quebecop with his whole channel, right, being AI, which is just funny, right? With Tommy in it, it's all about his morality and like what he's talking about, and him lying and flip flopping and going on whatever side suits him best in the moment, which applies to a lot of his actions with people like Logan Paul, Mr. Beast, KSI, and all these other content creators, which is actually criticizable to his character. Or another example is the alleged AI usage in his book, right? Which I found interesting, especially because of his stances and how shit it was, right? There are ways to critique that, and there are like ways to go about that type of thing, but like his audience don't go about that because they don't give a shit about any of that stuff. They don't care if he's lied. They are just interested in the fact that, well, we are these super fucking like freaked people, right? Who give a shit if you're using AI 24/7, right? We're going to complain about that because that goes against, whatever conventions we're following. We don't care that you've lied. We don't care if you're like flip flopping or whatever. People on that side who openly criticized him for that, even brought up his old controversies and actually started criticizing him properly, folded immediately as soon as he came out with a response going, oh yeah, sorry, didn't know it was bad. When he very clearly did know it was bad because he'd put it in the description, he'd said it in the video, he'd said previously that he thought AI was bad and had all these conversations. But they don't care about the flip flopping or the lies or the virtue signaling, as long as he's like following their narrative. And you can tell I'm very like I'm passionate about TommyInnit coverage. I hate him.
I can understand. Like, I'm sure he's fine. I'm sure he's fine, like as a person, but just the way he like presents himself on social media, it's clear he's just doing whatever for his. He's got the like
two-faced cunt.
he's got the he's got the leftover audience of the Dream SMP that were like stirring up drama now that that's gone, and they all hate Dream, even though I don't think he's done anything. Like, there's a lot to criticize Dream for, but they still call him a pedophile. And I had this argument with someone on Twitter. I was like, the guy proved himself to be innocent. And then some other person was like, if Dream, he might not be a pedo, but he's a bad guy. I'm like, yeah, but that's shifting the goalpost. If you've got evidence against him being a bad guy and you disagree with him, that's fine. But
no,
don't
100%.
you can't use that. Oh, I don't like him to call the guy a pedo.
And I mean, like Tubbo and TommyInnit and Average Harry and all these other people only fuel that narrative further, right? Tubbo saying like, "Oh yeah, well he might have paid them off, right? Great, right? Well, that's just a fucking fantastic thing to just like openly on a live stream, right? Really gonna fuel that, right? And then go, guys, we do make too many pedo jokes. We've just said he might have paid people off, right? Like, what the fuck are we doing here? TommyInnit like virtue signaling heavy over the GeorgeNotFound stuff. Not even critiquing GeorgeNotFound, just using it to like score a couple of brownie points against Dream, right?
Fucking interesting.
Yeah, the GeorgeNotFound stuff with Average Harry and all of how all these other people have gone about it, right? They don't help. They fuel the audience actively, even if allegations have been dismissed, just because they know if they come out and say something that is slightly different, right? Slightly like, oh yeah, like, I don't believe this. They know they're going to get eaten alive by the audience. And I mean, with somebody like TommyInnit, I don't think he he's probably like an all right guy in real life, right? I don't think he's like some like horrific guy, but his like personality and how he's decided to present himself is somebody, especially over the past few months, who's incredibly two-faced, somebody who will stab you in the back, somebody who is like what people say Dream is, right? Is this bad, deceitful guy? All the critiques that people throw at Dream outside of the false allegations and stuff can be exactly applied to TommyInnit, but it's this bias that's there, and I think that's why it's so interesting. Because there is this person there that deserves to get critiqued, deserves to be held accountable for like things he's done, push false accusations, the things that he says and does. But people don't because it's TommyInnit, and they'd much rather just throw false allegations at someone else.
Yeah.
Sorry, I went on a bit of a rant there, but you fucking I get a bit fueled up by TommyInnit because he's somebody who hasn't faced a lot of criticism until really the past few months. He hasn't really faced any criticism for his actions, and for the past few years, he's gone like kind of scot-free with behavior that would be criticized if it was anybody else.
Yeah, and it's really when Dream like pointed out a lot of this stuff in his response. Dream actually got more criticism for because it was Dream, but I guess Dream doesn't do like Dream was like kind of reaching in that I'm sorry, but not to TommyInnit video, especially with the like allegations of like slave labor for his clothing. I'm like, I can't really blame Tommy for that, especially with like every other like, why didn't you mention every other creator that promoted?
Well, yeah. Well, this is what I mean, right? There is wait, like there's a fair shake, right? You critique both Dream and TommyInnit, but that doesn't exist in that audience. I mean, there was
it's only critiquing. You can't critique the poor 16-year-old that's now 21.
yeah, you can't critique him or Tubbo or all these people that have been through such hardships, right?
Yeah.
These people that are clearly like innocent have done no wrongdoings. Dream deserves to get criticized for not only folding on like a pathetic tweet, right? A tweet that was fine, which was pretty funny, right? His responses were awful until the live stream, until that video, right? And even in that video, there were heavily criticizable things. You brought up, the good point about the merchandise stuff and, him getting information wrong. But on the flip side of that, the way TommyInnit went about it and the things he was saying, the fact he put his fucking response behind a paywall and the implications of that, and like, when we're dealing with like actual serious things, right? So like, accusations of child labor, things like serious accusations being thrown around, the GeorgeNotFound stuff being dragged back into it. There are accusations of like, sexual assault, topics of a sexual nature, topics of serious accusations being thrown around, and you're decided to put it behind a paywall. But nobody criticized that outside of, the commentary community and a few other people. People just didn't care. And it's hilarious because these people kind of get away with any action that I think scummy. And I don't think these people are the worst people on the planet. And I think that, like the argument they've come up with is, there are people that deserve more criticism, right? The people that do deserve that, which, it is true. But these are the people that don't get any criticism and are allowed to get away with their actions, which ultimately should be made fun of and should be critiqued.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, it's why I've put together like a huge compilation for the TommyInnit stuff that I'm dropping soon. Because there isn't that concise big picture out there where all of his shit in like over the past year or so is there. And with you, what draws you to the Minecraft stuff? I know you like towards the beginning you said about like it was drama, easy content to make, right? But like, what draws you into that drama sphere? Because for me, it's not only how much there is, right? But there is so much to not only talk about, but there are people that get away with lots of things, the false accusations, all that type of stuff. What draws you to cover that type of like, Minecraft like niche?
I guess if it's a serious like sexual assault allegation, like or like the stuff with like the Ethobot stuff or anything like that, it's because I want to make sure people are represented in a fair light. Like a lot of this community, they go guilty until proven innocent, whereas like I'm going, that's not how the real world works. Like especially with the, I wish I covered the GeorgeNotFound stuff because there's still a lot of people that think he's like a rapist or something, which just didn't happen. The worst thing GeorgeNotFound did was he didn't ask if he could tickle some girl's stomach whilst he was drunk at a party, and so many people like use that. Oh, he like assaulted this girl, but you could point out every lie in Katy Bugs' story, where she like maliciously tried to put George in the
Yeah.
worst light. But like this just didn't happen. We've got confirmation from people that were there that the things she was saying weren't happening.
Well, yeah.
And she like worded it in this way where it makes him look like he touched some like 12, 13, 8-year-old at a party and forced them to drink, which like didn't happen. So it's
Well,
like,
there's a reason she ran away, right? Like, it's just
everyone's like, or if you look at Twitter, there's so many of these like GeorgeNotFound assault like haters or like Katy Bugs fans that go, yeah, well, you guys bullied her off the internet, but like she's still got a lot of fans. She can come back whenever she wants. Like no one bullied Katy off the internet. They just called her out because like the weird thing about that whole situation to me was Katy, like when GeorgeNotFound just wanted to give his side of the story, and in the initial allegations, and was like, I'm giving myself some time to respond to these. And then what happened after that was Katy made a tweet saying, "We are waiting. Put whatever you can find." I also have screen recorded everything. I planned on using it if I needed it to support my case, if needed. But please share it. And that just rubbed me the wrong way. I'm like, if you have all this evidence against a guy and you're accusing him of sexual assault, why not show that evidence? Like, why would you wait for him to show what happened?
And there were so many inconsistencies, lies, over exaggerations, loads of stuff came out in the situation, and like it was really funny because when like sparring on this average Harry stuff right recently, the amount of replies I got that was just like, well, like mainly on Twitter, but like on YouTube, like it's way more well-rounded, right? It's probably like 95 to 5%, right, of like people that genuinely do not believe that George is like some like big like assaulter. But on Twitter, it's a completely different story. It's a completely different audience on there, and a lot of their cope is, well, look, it's commentary. Commentary, like prove George innocent or made him out to be innocent when that's not the case. It's commentary's fault. It's all those people's fault. It's like, well, there would be nothing there to prove his innocence if that wasn't the case. It would just be
Yeah.
loads of people stretching, right? There isn't a group consensus. There isn't like some big conspiracy to like ruin this like poor girl's life. It's just the fact that she lied. It got exposed. The like parts of the truth came out. People decided to make fun of Max, like the crying fucking like weirdo. And that was about it. There's nothing more to it. But people have this like big thing on that side that well, you're all just raging misogynists, right? It's their favorite keyword. Is you're just a misogynist. You're a misogynist. You've made fun of some girl posing. It's clearly because she's a woman, right? Why have you not criticized Average Harry and like this person? We have. Oh well, no. You're just focusing more on her because she's a woman. It's all about like whatever keywords they can throw at you, what labels they can throw at you, because they don't argue. They never come back with any proof, any evidence, with any actual arguments. It's all you're a misogynist, you're a racist, you're a homophobe, you're an ableist, you're all this, you're that, because they just bury you.
Yeah, you disagreed with a woman. You disagree with something like with the Hannah XX Rose stuff. Like people were like
Yeah,
saying if you like are setting hate, you should like die in a hole or something like that. I'm like, bro, you're allowed to disagree with women.
well, yeah.
Like it,
You disagree with a woman, you're a rapist, mate. Like there
you
is
did,
like
you're a
they jump to
misogynist.
things. Yeah, it's that
They
side of the internet that will just throw these keywords at you and bury you in whatever else they can find, and like try and make you look as bad as possible and try and discredit you.
Yeah, they're trying to discredit the person, but not the actual argument because they know they can't disrespect the
Well,
argument.
exactly. Well, it's why now with the dream stuff that they just keep adding stuff right to his like roster. Right? It's not good enough that like they already think he's like a paedophile. They've got to make him out to be like some raging misogynist. Oh yep, we don't think he's gay, right? We're gonna say that he's like faking this and he's like a giant like walking talking scandal, right? They just add
Yeah.
things to whoever they disagree with because
Or
it's just easier than trying to argue.
they try and claim like he's like some Trump supporter when he's never publicly like come out with his political views. But
Yeah,
like,
being malicious and like taking things out of context. That the context is there, but they decide to ignore it.
yeah,
Um, and when these people get called out, and like rightfully so, they end up either blocking or deleting their posts, and kind of like scurrying away. Um,
I feel like
and,
so
and I
many
mean,
people in that community have blocked me on Twitter.
oh no, half the time, like I'll be scrolling on my Twitter and I'll be like just reading replies of just some random post, and like you'll see loads of the Minecraft accounts, and I click on them, blocked. That's mainly because of my GeorgeNotFound coverage last year, and
One
the
of my
stuff I've said about Dream.
one of my friends in our group chat sent me a tweet being like, "If you're hating on Hannah, just leave, bro. One, it's Minecraft. Two, calm down, and you're a misogynist." I'm like, "This is a crazy tweet," and I look at the profile, and I'm like, "They've got me blocked," but I've like never interacted with them as well, which was really funny. So like they'll go out of their way to like block commentary channels that just they're going out of their way to like block commentary channels that disagree with them, which I think is a bit stupid.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's funny as fuck. I mean, just like now, I was like, just because I wanted to try and prove my point, right? I clicked on like a random fucking Twitter page that had like recently tweeted like, I'm not taking criticism from any Dream stan, by the way. You can criticize all you want, but if Dream is your favorite, your opinion on him is invalid to me, right? I click on their account, blocked, right?
Yeah.
Like it's the story with half these people because they don't want to have a conversation. They would much rather just
Yeah.
live in their own like deluded bubble. And it's so funny. It is
Yeah.
so fucking funny.
But these Minecraft people, they don't also like make it easy to defend him because like GeorgeNotFound, when the whole situation went down, he basically like admitted to stuff and like so people on the Katy Bugs fan group go, he admitted to it and like he apologized and shit like that. So he's got to be held accountable. He's admitting to some heinous crimes against this girl. But it's interesting because like in the first stream, she was like barely able to speak and crying and looked all like she had like just survived like the Vietnam Wars and is coming out of the trenches. And then the second two streams are she's a lot angrier, and she's
Mm,
like she can speak, and kind of like she tried to like up, update what she got wrong, but it was just like malicious in a sense. She was like, when I was saying I was freshly 18, even though I was 18 in 6 months,
mhm,
I meant to say I was freshly out of high school and 18, but like one, you're an adult, so it doesn't matter. It only matters in America because you're still considered a baby under 21 apparently. Um,
mhm.
so it's like she lied about that, but there's also that wasn't the only time she said she was freshly 18. And like
Yeah.
whilst whilst depending on your own moral compass, if you think 18 and 26 is immoral, that's up to your judgment. But if it goes to a court of law, she's still an adult, and they were both drinking. And I don't think George maliciously like sexually assaulted by definition. If she didn't want it, I guess that's fine. Like if she regretted it later, that's fine. But there's like text
Hmm.
messages by her saying she was fine, and she literally admitted she was fine in the moment, and she was like, "But I'm drunk." But like George was drunk as well, so he had a mistake of fact of consent. So
Well, yeah.
like he had all the signals in his head to believe like, okay, this girl's clearly into me. We've been flirting, cuddling, spooning for an hour.
Yeah, and I mean, I think what didn't help in that situation is because of his initial response, right? Because like he was incredibly vague, and then he lent too much into things, and then he kind of realized, oh, I'm kind of
Yeah.
playing into their narrative, and like that's what people use, right? On that side, if they do ever bring up proof, it's well, look what he said in his response. He admitted to it, which he didn't. It's not what he
Yeah.
did in his responses whatsoever. It's because as well you had that unfortunate fucking Twitter space from Dream where he's in call crying about it, right? And like that kind of fucked things up a little bit. If it wasn't for people doing research and looking in and like actively like going, well, you've lied here. This is a contradiction to what you previously said. You've actively lied here. This is somebody else, not GeorgeNotFound or one of his friends or whoever else this is. Then unfortunately, the way a lot of them responded and acted in that situation, they kind of would have unfortunately buried themselves.
Because I think a lot of these people as well, they're so chronically online, they don't realize that there's more than to life than like verbal consent. You don't always need a verbal yes. Like there's certain cues and signals that may imply, but they use the excuse of she's drunk. But they also they don't mention that George was drunk as well. They don't like that when you mention that because it makes it harder for their opinion. But like there's this one pretty big tweet made by a someone's Dream SMP stan, or I'm not sure who their stands of, but they made a like clip showing 44 seconds of what of George admitting to what he did wrong. But if you actually go to his response, it's
Hmm.
27 minutes long, so they cut out a lot of they cut out 26 minutes with like context, and it's just malicious.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, a lot of it's the same stuff with basically all these type of situations, especially in the Minecraft community. Is they see an accusation or something serious, they instantly believe it, and they will never change their beliefs. I mean, like I especially think on platforms like Twitter, like YouTube isn't so bad anymore, right? Basically, a large majority of those people that do consume that type of content do like actively are in that type of Minecraft community, have critical thinking skills now, do like actually analyze situations properly, make sure what they're saying is true and verified, and we'll switch up if that's like what happens in a situation. They follow a situation properly. It's more people on Twitter, right, that are very much these type of like 2020, 2021 type of people that haven't got the memo that just falsely accusing people. It was never cool, but right, it's definitely not cool anymore. You can't do that. It is what it is, right? You're always going to get people that just like blindly believe accusations or blindly believe things and don't fact check or whatever. Is what it is. But ultimately, it's just funny to laugh at them. They're great for content.
Yeah, it's just
Um,
interesting because like if
well, no, yeah.
the case as well, it's like I'm reading her like clearing everything up
Mm-hmm.
document, and it's like you were clearly into the guy on that night. I don't think Katie like maliciously went out of her way to like she probably like was fine with it like on the night and in the moment, and then like regretted it later because she was drunk. But then she's good friends with a lot of a group that like despises Dream and will spread any allegation about like any of the members if they can.
Mm-hmm.
So it just comes down to that. And yeah, it's like I think it was blown out of proportion a lot.
No, definitely. I mean, it was also a very hectic time because in the midst of the GeorgeNotFound stuff, you had several other like huge Minecraft
Yeah, the
accusations,
Wil
right?
she
The
said
Wilbur, yeah,
she came forward because of Shelby and Wilbur,
yeah.
but like I don't like the whole I've got dirt on this guy for a year, but I'm not gonna provide any evidence when I come forward. It just doesn't. It rubs me the wrong way.
Well, I mean as well, right? Like, I think the funniest thing from the Katy Bugs thing, right, is a live stream. You know, she's crying, right? She's like, you know, wiping away her imaginary tears, and then the next ones, you know, she's like, it's been a year or whatever. She said that she's been like, whatever, like she said to relive that. Now she's fucking, she's not a tear in sight. She's yelling, she's shouting, she's like being like manipulative as fuck. She doesn't give a fuck. And it's very clear the mentality there is like, you know, let me put on the waterworks a little bit. Let me try and act like I'm like some fucking like poor, like bereaved fucking like widows, like, you know, been like fucking like touched over here, right? Been absolutely fucked over in this situation.
Yeah.
But it's just simply not the case.
You know you know
You know,
about the text message where she was like trying to say, "Oh, this was from one of GeorgeNotFound's friends that was there at the night," and he was
yeah,
like uncomfortable. And then the weird thing is, she showed the text clearly censored, so she had to have known who it was from. But like that's like research 101. You've got to figure out who texts are from before you make an allegation like that. And then in her response stream, when people called her out on this bullshit, she was like, "It was actually from the girl," but it's like you tried using that as like a point to make it look worse on George's part. Like, how can we trust everything else now? She didn't
what is
make it
that?
good. So like both side Minecraft channels are just shit at handling drama. That's all that's coming down to.
It's just funny.
You could
Like I
call
just like pointing and laughing at them. It's great.
Yeah, you could like call out Katy Bugs on every single lie she told, and people would be like, "But she was drunk. She can remember the exact outfit and what happened, but she can't remember those key details and like know who sent the text messages." Like this stuff is documented. Like you should know, especially if you scribbled it out to like protect the phone number or whatever.
Well, yeah, I mean, with these type of situations in the Minecraft community and all these like fucking tards, it's while I would happily sit there and just make as many videos as possible laughing at these,
Yeah,
laughing at them like you know, saying, "Oh, well, you can't use this Twitter post, right? You can't do this, you can't do that, you whatever." And, like trying to virtue signal, try and be like as disingenuous as
she's a
possible.
woman, so she's right.
Yeah, yeah, you're a misogynist. You clearly hate women. You know, you're homophobic. Am I? Fucking last time I checked, I like men. But you know, if that fits your narrative, that's completely fine with you. Um, and I mean, it's very like thing, and like to just kind of wrap that little bit up before we like get to like just the end of the podcast and like the last few questions.
Mm.
Is I've just seen this and I think it sums it up perfectly. Because of course, for people that like watching the podcast that might not keep up to date with like my Slump channel or stuff I do on Twitter, like I had a couple of people saying like, "Oh, you've used my post without my consent in your video." Public
Yeah,
post with like ten
I've
thousand odd
seen
likes,
those.
and these people got shat on and deleted their posts about it. And like I made a video like antagonizing them. I did another one because they were like so disheartened by being included in the video, and someone like tagged one of the like the main persons like baby whatever their name is, right? They tagged him by saying, "Just thought I'd bring it to your attention that Samuel guy included you in another one of his stupid videos, showed another one of your tweets, which, fuck God, that is a crime." And they responded by saying, "No clue why I haven't seen this, but I'm unsurprised. I don't give a fuck anymore." Well, you don't give a fuck because you've just been, like, raped. You've been called out. People have, like, come out with, like, tweets and, like, gone, well, like, you're being stupid. You've deleted it. You've got embarrassed, and then you've run away. That's why you don't care anymore. It was very clear that you did care about a day ago. Like, it's stupid.
Samuel, take me the fuck out of your Reddit storytime slot video. Your monotone, unfunny, unbearably annoying commentary, stop defending genuine abuses make me sick. It's like if George Found was guilty, we wouldn't be defending him. We're just
Yeah,
like
well,
we just like
if the
read.
evidence was there, it,
We just
like
read.
if George has gone, yeah, I sexually assaulted that woman. Fucking, I'll put my hands up. It was a good time. I'd go, well, fuck yeah, like you know, let's
There's
critique
a
this guy, all
tweet.
right?
There's a tweet from like LT Beast under the thing where it was like retards doing what the best, and I sent the growing up becoming a retarded TommyInnit fan
Yeah,
game.
it's fucking so stupid. Like these type of people, they like they don't get right of like if there was genuinely something there, you know these type of people would call it out like because a topic and phrase they try and throw around like is like you're a Dream fan, you're a GeorgeNotFound fan because you don't agree with their topic or you're on a different side of their narrative, right? It's just like, well, no, it's not the case.
We don't
Like
care.
it's
We just
just
want
I don't
to.
give a fuck about GeorgeNotFound or Dream in terms of their content. I'm not a fan or a viewer really.
Yeah.
I just seen like the situation that very clearly isn't what you're saying it is and spoken about it. But that's what they do to try and make themselves feel better, right? It's just all fans. It's clearly like half of the internet must be like a huge like Dream fan. Then like
Yeah,
95% of the internet saying he's not a paedophile must just love him.
Yeah, even though he like made an hour and 30-minute video with
Yeah,
sheets and the victims admitting they were lying. Nah, he's a pedo.
yeah. He just likes children.
Clearly, he has a lot of money, so clearly he's lying.
He just likes fiddling with kids, apparently.
Yeah.
But
If
like,
Diddy if Diddy was proven innocent, the dream can be too. So like,
yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
it's fucked.
Um, and just like to start wrapping up the podcast as well. Like, what do you have planned for the future of your channel and stuff? And like going forward, like, have you got any plans and stuff?
Yeah, I've got a few. When does this podcast come up?
Probably in the next 2-3 weeks or so, because I've got one coming out
Okay.
this week at the time of recording.
Yeah, so there's some stuff going on with the Mojang lawsuit in Minecraft that
Hmm.
I've got coming out. So what will happen with that is Kian, he's just finished his second video on it. And once that comes out, I'll be covering it. I think he needs some people to help him with some
Hmm.
stuff in the video, which I'll explain. I've got the Iskall video where I show the documents of the police like saying it's
Hmm.
not under his company and what we can expect from
No, for
that.
sure.
Uh, and that's about it at the
No,
moment.
definitely.
And then I've also got
Yeah.
yeah, I've also got some like mainstream stuff I'll try and do as well. We'll see.
Well, it's good. And I mean, I'll 100% use your Iskall video for some slop. Most likely, if I'm desperate on that day, if I've got nothing else together. And go over that a little bit. But I do want to say thank you for coming on TrashTalk for about an hour or so. Just having like a waffle and a laugh about some fucking like stupid idiots. I'm not going to say retards again. Oh, I've said it there. I just kind of slips out at this point.
You're cancelled now. The dream stands are going to be like he's clearly able because he said
Yeah,
retard.
I clearly want all disabled people dead. I actually, in my spare time, I go and kick fucking disabled people down flights of stairs.
Yeah,
Clearly,
I actually spit on disabled people when I walk down to the
yeah.
shop.
I actually walk over them. I don't walk around them. I just walk.
No, I don't
them.
even like acknowledge their existence. I spit on them and move on and say you're retarded. Hey, come on.
Yeah, it's part of my day. It's part of my daily routine. But I do want to thank you for coming on Trash Talk, and thank you everybody for watching today's episode of Trash Talk. If you did enjoy, please consider leaving a like, subscribing, hit the notification bell, and leaving your thoughts down below in the comments whilst you're doing all of that. But I've been your host, Samuel. I've been here with a very special guest, and I will catch you in the next episode of the Trash Talk podcast.